Good evening and welcome. The most talked about marriage in America right about now might be the political union of Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. But long before there was a Paul Ryan in his life, Mitt Romney was, by all accounts, heavily reliant upon one true North Star, his wife Ann Romney. Tonight we begin a candid conversation. NBC's Natalie Morales sat down with Ann Romney, who was and remains for this candidate the real running mate.
This is an image of Ann Romney seen by millions of Americans, wealthy and privileged, watching her dressage horse Rafalka at the London Olympics. 200 miles away, though, I saw something different. As the voices of a Welsh choir echoed from a church where her ancestors are buried, we visited the hard-scrabbled coal country of southern Wales.
It's very emotional for me to come back and to know what kind of life my grandfather lived and my father, and how tough their living really was.
Her grandfather was just 6 when he began working at a mine similar to this one. Her father, Edward Davies, grew up here, too, before emigrating as a teenager to America, where he made a fortune as an engineer and businessman. Those family traits, both toughness and ambition, were very evident when I sat down with Ann Romney and we talked about her role in the campaign.
Sounds like you counsel Mitt a lot in many ways.
I feel like we are partners, true partners in every sense of the way. I don't think he could do it without me. I don't believe he could. I couldn't, obviously, be here without him either.
For her, that partnership is about more than just politics.
We have a reason why we're running, and it's because I believe in my heart that Mitt is going to save America. That economically we are in such difficult times, and that he is the person that's going to pull us through this. And it's to propel me through the negative criticism. And I am stalwart and steadfast and positive and confident that still to this day, Mitt is the person that's going to save America, and he's going to get us back on track.
15-year-old Ann Davies met 18-year-old Mitt Romney at a party in suburban Detroit in 1965.
I was very careful. I never let him know how I felt. I was very coy about that, and I think it drove him crazy.
Her initial caution didn't last long. When 21-year-old Mitt Romney returned from his 2-year Mormon mission in France, he and Ann decided to get married right away.
I was 19, nearly 20, and my parents and Mitt's parents did not think that was a very good idea.
Too young?
Way too young.
Yeah.
They didn't approve. I will amend that. Mitt's father got the biggest kick out of it and loved every second of it. But my parents and Mitt's mother thought we needed to wait, we needed to have time, we needed to do everything else. We would hear nothing of it.
She was just as determined when her parents opposed her teenage decision to join the Mormon faith. She turned to Mitt's father, the governor of Michigan, George Romney, for guidance.
He was a positive influence, but it really was my own decision and my own initiative that took me to joining the church.
But your parents did not necessarily approve.
No,
of
they
the
were
religion.
they were not happy about it.
Why
but
not?
I think maybe their concern was I was doing this for Mitt or for some other reason. And I think as soon as they understood that wasn't the case, they were really okay with it.
For a child of the 60s, she was something of a rebel in reverse. She chose to be a stay-at-home mom and raise her 5 sons while her peers in Massachusetts were pursuing careers.
Did you ever feel disparaged for your choice?
I did. I felt disparaged many times. I was in Cambridge, and knowing that I was very capable and actually quite bright and quite able to do almost any job in the world, it was a little grating on me. You know, I can respect their choices. They needed to respect mine.
Her resolve would be tested during her first turn in the political spotlight when Mitt Romney ran unsuccessfully for the U.S. Senate against Ted Kennedy in 1994.
There was an article in the Boston Globe, a profile from that time. It painted you as something of a Stepford wife, as sort of having this very privileged life, being naive. How much did you resent that profile?
Well, that was the first time when I realized that the press doesn't necessarily represent who you really are, and that they might represent a point of view or a way to put a wedge or do something to someone that is not fair. And it was
painful?
Yeah, very, very painful. Not fair. not nice, not good.
More serious pain was still to come. In 1998, at the age of 49, she began to feel numbness in her right leg and eventually went to a neurologist.
In the waiting room, there was a pamphlet, and in the pamphlet, it had two things they talked about: ALS, which is more commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and multiple sclerosis. And I looked at Mitt and I said, "Well, I got one or the other. I don't know which one. Let's go find out." And walked into the doctor's office, and he did the testing, which is, don't look. Can you tell where I'm moving your toe? And like, no, I don't know. Can you feel this? No, can't feel that. Stand up and then close your eyes and turn. And I couldn't. I was too, lose my balance. And that's when I started to cry. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm failing every test he's giving me. And Mitt's sitting there, and you can see his eyes cloud over. And it was, at that point, it was like, this isn't good. This isn't good.
The diagnosis, multiple sclerosis. She was given aggressive treatments of intravenous steroids for a year, and her MS went into remission. But there is no cure. Today, the symptoms come and go.
Of course, one of the triggers for MS and for flare-ups is constant stress in your life. So nothing like a good old campaign to add to the stress. Have you had any flare-ups?
I have. Just a little bitty one, but enough to give me a real scare. And it happened
just in March, right?
It was right at the primary time. And it was such a crazy time, and I didn't want to have anyone worrying about me, especially Mitt. I didn't tell anyone. But I knew I had to quit.
What were you feeling at that time?
I started feeling tingling and a little bit of numbness coming back, and I was dizzy. I was starting to get dizzy, and the dizzy head, you call it the MS fog, the real foggy brain. Mm-hmm. And so that, it was just a reminder that I can't keep that pace up.
The next president of the United States, my husband, Mitt Romney.
In fact, campaigns have always been hard on her. In 2008, when Mitt Romney ran for president for the first time, she was angered by the attacks on her husband.
The negative, it's so hard as a wife to sit there and listen to that and take that. So that's what I said, never again.
So why go through it again?
Well, that's a good question. And I was the first one to say this time, you have to do this again. Yes, it was going to be painful. Yes, it was going to be hard. Yes, we might fail. But we had to go forward.
This time, she stepped out as his fiercest defender, especially when it comes to questions about the family's estimated $250 million fortune and their tax returns.
A lot of people still are asking, why not be transparent and release more than the 2010 and the estimates for 2011?
Have you seen how we're attacked? Have you seen what's happened?
It's been in the press quite a bit. Now, are you angry that it's been in the press? I mean, should you not be questioned about your finances?
We have been very transparent to what's legally required of us. But the more we release, the more we get attacked. The more we get questioned, the more we get pushed. And so we have done what's legally required, and there's going to be no more tax releases given. And there's a reason for that, and that's because of what happens as soon as we release anything. Mitt's financial disclosures when he was governor are huge. If people want to really look and see any question they have. Mm-hmm. The other thing they have to understand is that Mitt is honest. His integrity is just golden. We pay our taxes. We are absolutely, beyond paying our taxes, we also give 10% of our income to charity. So, we have no issues that way, and the only reason we don't disclose anymore is, we're just become a bigger target.
So it's because you'll just continue to face more questions.
It'll just give them more ammunition.
To the American people, though, when they hear about, perhaps accounts with your name on it overseas and tax shelters, they feel like you may be hiding something.
There's nothing we're hiding. We've had a blind trust for how many years? We don't even know what's in there. It's been managed by a blind trust since before Mitt was governor, 2002 forward. And so, I'll be curious to see what's in there, too.
In that conversation with Natalie Morales, you heard Ann Romney there talk about her conversion to Mormonism, and we wanted to let you know next week we will devote the entire hour of this broadcast to the Mormon faith, what it means to be a Mormon in America. That's next Thursday night here on Rock Center.